How are you today? Are you enjoying your stay here? You know, this place belongs to you. I am only a custodian. Is it true? Now, the subject matter for tonight's lecture should be interesting for those who like to practice, because this Vidya is considered to be secret of secrets. How much can I explain and how much can be benefited? It depends upon us both. This interaction between teacher and student is called Diksha. Now there are 4 categories of Diksha. Initiation, what you call. What do you give to your teacher when you go for initiation? The Upanishad say, Samit Pani, dry sticks, with all humility and love. These days people offer checks, fruits, this, because it's needed these days. But during that time, teacher used to take all the responsibilities for students' boarding, lodging, and teachings. You hardly find any teacher like that today, and you don't find students also like that. Many of you have read what Samit Pani means, you see, and send me bundle of sticks, you see, by mail. You see, so during Guru Purnima day, I received at least 20 bundle sticks through mail. It means I have nothing to offer and you don't need anything. These dry sticks are my sanskaras. You should burn the fire of knowledge and burn all those sticks. Please accept this. From ancient times, there are 4 categories of Diksha. Yoga Diksha, initiating you into awareness, because from the very beginning, since your childhood, you have been taught to see, examine, verify things in the external world. No school, no college, no university teaches you how to look within, how to find within, how to verify things within. Therefore, you establish a home, you establish a world of yours, and you talk to people and live in the external world. Say, this is my country, this is my nation, this is my society, this is my family. But you do not know yourself. You are a stranger to yourself, yet you establish a relationship with others, a claim to love them, you see, and always expect to be loved. So, there is disaster in our family setup these days. But that starts from within, because you do not know yourselves. In my opinion, before somebody gets married, he or she should go somewhere to understand one's own being, one's own self for some time, and then establish in the world. More than 65% of divorces are the result of this ignorance. You see. Because of ignorance. First of all, you should know that when you are initiated in Yoga Vidya, so first you are taught few exercises, you are made aware that you have a body, physical body, though you are not body alone. But body is important. You see, you have to learn to look after your body. It cannot help you on the path of enlightenment, but it can disturb you, it can create obstacles for you. Therefore, body should be looked after. That initiation in which body awareness is expanded is called Yoga Diksha, in which a teacher tells you to recite Gayatri Mantra and Mahamrityunjaya Mantra. They are not considered to be mantras given by Guru. They are must. Yoga Diksha is another step of Diksha, in which when a teacher or Guru sees a block, something which is creating barrier for the student, and finds the student miserable, though honest, then that Diksha is given, that mantra is given, that method is given, so that she or he is free from that block, from that barrier. That's called Upadeksha. Third is called Jnana Diksha. Jnana Diksha leads you to attain intuitive knowledge. That is meant and that is reserved for the renunciates and monks, in which Maha Vakyas are imparted to the students because they have renounced the world. Renouncing world does not mean dropping your body, not being responsible and not doing your duties. That's a false notion. Renouncing world means anything that you consider yours is not yours actually. You see, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. When you were born, you came to this world, there was nothing. You did not have anything. When you leave this platform, you don't carry anything with you. You don't have to claim anything that this is mine. You see. To those who renounce that concept that this is mine, this is mine, this is mine, they are called renunciates. But the people who live in the world as householder are not inferior to those who have renounced. Why they are considered to be higher? Because they have ample time to attain their goal, while the people, householders, do not have enough time. They get busy, they get distorted, they get dissipated in the external world. Their desires are 99% mundane desires, while renunciates desires, 99% are desires for emancipation. They both have desires. One desire is totally for emancipation, another desire is to have worldly pleasures, worldly gains, worldly attainments. So householders should not be lost in the world forgetting their goal, because goal of the renunciates and monks and goal of the householders or ordinary people or common people is one and the same. They are not different. We all need enlightenment. We all need to attain the goal of life. What is that goal of life? You often say God. But when you study scripture and finally come to conclusion, that doesn't make any sense. You need to attain a state of peace, happiness and bliss. You see? And if you have attained peace, happiness and bliss, then that is called God. If you have not, then you are worshipping, adoring and believing in a God who is not God. So that Diksha, Upayoga Diksha, is given for a specific purpose, because teacher says, my student is very honest. He or she come with honesty to me. So somehow or other, this block which is hindering, which is creating a barrier for the student should be removed, and there is a specific way the teacher gives a special mantra for that. Mantra potency is highest of all potency. I don't say that I have attained the highest and all that a mantra can do, but I have examined and seen. You see, miracle of miracles. Once I was traveling towards Gangotri in deep Himalayas, from where Ganges, you see, flows, with my master. And there is a place that is called Harsil. Avalanche started coming down. Avalanche, thousands of bombs, and one avalanche, where the dirt and rocks, snow, all mixes, and then mountain breaks, and comes down. So I was scared. I caught hold of him. I was 7 to 8 years of age. And I said, now we are going to die. You see, this avalanche is going to destroy. He looked at me and said, you keep quiet. And there was no way for us to run this side or go forward, because we were trapped. He wouldn't ever stop whenever he walked. That was his, So he did like this. He always used to say, And I was the only interpreter of that What do you mean? When I used to feed him, he said, means he wants more or not. A glass of water, you see. So I interpreted his very well. So he said, And we walked. And when that is a quite half a mile distance, we crossed. He did like that. And that avalanche started coming down. And during that time, that blocked even the course of the river Ganges, which created a, unprecedented disaster in India during that time. Blocked the river. It became a huge lake, you see. Many times I saw like that. And I used to say, I said, you are not teaching me this. You are not teaching me this. He said, this will come according to your practice and experience. Don't hanker for all these so-called powers. Don't do that. Human potentials are immense. If you study the lives of great people, whenever they said, it's not we, it's God has done. Why did they say that? It is done through them. Why did they say that it's God has done? Are they lying? Because if they said that it has been done by us, it will feed their ego. The greatest of all barriers in the path of enlightenment is ego. Ego is needed as far as external attainment, external world is needed. Mundane things in the world are needed. It creates a serious problem when you want to attain spirituality. And that habit which you form, this is my body, this is my breath, this is my mind. When somebody is feeling pain, you don't feel because of ego. Ego has created a block for you, isolated yourself from the whole, and that is why you have become a small, miserable, you see, unit. You feel helpless, sorry for yourself, because of ego. When you understand your internal self, as you function outside with 2 legs and 2 arms and hands and other senses, there is a human in you that you inside should also be understood. And for that you will have to learn a special dialogue, communicating with yourself. You see. So third Diksha is Jnana Diksha, which is given to the renunciates and monks by imparting the wisdom, knowledge which leads to emancipation through intuitive knowledge. Now, let me tell you, there are varieties of knowledge. A confused mind also uses the senses because senses have been employed by your mind. That confused mind or that clouded mind, that unclarity doesn't allow you to see things as they are. Like ghost on the post. A man genuinely wanted to renounce the world. He told his wife and children, your children are grown up, they are able to look after you, and you are weak, you cannot walk with me, go to the mountain, do, you see, this interior research. So better be at home, give me permission so that I can attain the goal of life. He took permission of his wife. The wife understood, you see, because whole life he complained, well, because of you I cannot become a Swami, because of you I cannot become a nonsense. Sometimes men threaten their wives on this issue. If you do not behave, I'll become a Swami. So a man at Kanpur used to always bully his wife, always tell her this. So she came crying. I said, what's the matter, my kid? He troubles me all the time that he's going to become a Swami. I said, tell him, please become a Swami. So once he said, every day you tell me you threaten me, you want to become a Swami. Why do you not become a Swami? Why are you asking me? And he cried, he said, you don't love me anymore? You see. So you use such things to control each other. That is not establishing a good relationship. Good relationship is established when you two live and work like 2 wheels of the same chariot, whose goal is to attain enlightenment, freedom from fears, pains and miseries. That understanding should be developed. It is not a task of one man, but a 2 can help each other and go attain that distance. This is the meaning of married life. If it is missing, if there is no spirituality, that married life can never be happy. Why Catholics like to get married to Catholic families? Because they both have only one spiritual idea. Why Lutherans like to get married to Lutheran girls? You see, if your concepts, convictions are different, no matter how much you disperse from the external world, yet you'll always feel, my husband does not go to the church I believe in, I go to the different church. So, spiritual teacher gives you yoga diksha to remove that specific problem where he finds that my student's progress is hampered. And then that renunciates diksha is called Jnana Diksha. But fourth Diksha is unique. And that's called Sambhavi Diksha. Even the learned people don't understand what it is called. Sambhavi Diksha. You have heard about Swami Vivekananda. His name was Narendra Datta. When he came to Ramakrishna Paramhans, he argued with him. He argued with him so much he was annoyed, Ramakrishna Paramhans. He said, what a peaceful life I have been leading. And this boy comes and argues, and sometimes talks nonsense, One day, a sage came, Swami came, and stepped on him and put his foot over his chest, and he became unconscious. And when he came out to the consciousness, he was completely transformed. Same thing happened with Guru Nanak in a different way. For 3 days, he was completely unconscious. Same thing happened with the Jewish prophet Moses when he went to the mountain for 40 days. Same thing happened with Buddha. That last step of Diksha, where according to the scripture, Shiva himself gives Diksha. Shiva means here the Lord of yogic sciences. Even Vaishnavas say and accept this. The Shiva is the Lord of yogic sciences, and that's called, Shiva is the teacher of that Diksha. Shambhavi Diksha. All great men who have led the nations somehow got that Diksha. See, complete transformation. You see, it's not a change, it's complete transformation. There is difference. You cannot, smell from your ears, no matter how much you are enlightened. But you are transformed from within. Your thinking is different, your feeling is different, your knowing is different, your whole life's concept changes. You see. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, many such great sages. I used to remember a mantra by birth. Nobody taught me. So when my master gave me first time mantra, I smiled. I said, I already know it. What a new thing. He said, son, I am confirming this, that you are right. Yes, many times I used to feel, nobody gave me this mantra, I remembered it. You see, all the time, wherever, many times I used to forget. I had book in my hand and I would remember the mantra and wouldn't study, and my teacher would slap me. You see. And he knew that problem. He said, now I am telling you how to use it. You see. In all these dikshas, mantra is always given. What is mantra? You are confused by that. A word, a sound, a set of sound or words. Which are not made by human beings, actually. Which are heard by the sages in deep meditation. Shweta Upanishad explains about it. Mahanirvana Tantra talks about variety of diksha, if anybody wants to note. Teacher gives diksha according to the ability of the student and circumstances. But that Shambhavi diksha means Shiva himself, the Lord of yogic sciences himself, imparts that knowledge to the student. Before a goldsmith starts making ornament, he puts gold into the fire. When gold is purified, then he makes the ornaments. That's the fire. First, you are prepared for that. Now, where is that Shiva? Comes down from the heaven? And where are we committing mistakes? You are meditating, nothing is happening. Something is happening not the way you expect. Not the way I expect, at least. I expect that you would be meditating and coming to me, Swamiji, I feel joy. Here you come disappointed, Swamiji, nothing is happening. Sree Vidya is highest of all sadhana, very specialized. And there are 3 pockets in India where this Vidya grew and was practiced. Bengal, Kerala and Kashmir. In Bengal, God has developed this Vidya. As you say Brahman, the highest. As you say God, they said Goddess. They start worshipping Lord in the form of Mother. You see. Through devotion, through leading the emotion and leading that emotion to the highest of peak of ecstasy. See. And there is a way and method of doing that. It's easy to organize your thinking process. You can do that. You can analyze your thinking process. But there is no psychology in philosophy or sadhana up to this time. There is sadhana. And no psychology and philosophy that analyzes your emotional problems. That can deal with your emotional problems, but that cannot be analyzed. Because it's something constant. That fish of emotion that disturbs the lake of your mind is always there. A new wave comes all the time. Today you have this emotional problem, tomorrow you have that emotional problem. On the surface, therapists, psychoanalysts, psychologists, psychiatrists can deal with, but deep down, no one can deal with. Should they remain unsolved, unresolved? No. You should know how to deal with them. If you do not know how to live with yourself, how do you expect yourself to live with others? If you are not at peace with yourself, how can you have a peaceful home? If you do not love yourself but appreciate and admire yourself, how can you appreciate and admire others? Whole life you expect some will come down and love me. See the dreams all young girls have. Their prince of dreams will come down and one day take them, you see, and accept as a wife. Every girl dreams. Same thing happens with boys. A day will come, I will meet somebody, a lady, and who will establish my home and give me love. It never happens. That which you call love is called giving. When you learn to give, then what you receive after giving, that is called love. You never get unless you receive. You have no right to get, no right to receive. This sort of teachings are absent in our home lives. We do not teach our children how to give. Not to outsider, in the family, with the family members. Charity begins from home. When you teach your children from the very beginning how to give, that foundation will lead you, will help you in later life. That's why I always say, if children are suffering, it's not they are not suffering, it's parents who suffer. Who are the responsible people for the sufferings of the children? You see. If the student of a teacher suffers, it's the teacher who's responsible. If they are really students, it's the teacher's responsibility. You see. So let us have that responsibility towards ourselves. And we cannot have unless we understand what is Vidya. Vidya means knowledge normally. But there is something that is called avidya too. Absence of knowledge. In first step, anything we conceive through our senses, perceive, and then we try to conceptualize. That's not the knowledge. That's not considered to be right knowledge. Because your mind is clouded and your mind has employed 10 senses which you are using in the external world. That clouded owner of the 10 senses, master, misleads you, and whole life you remain in a world of fantasy and never come in touch with the reality. So therefore that is not considered to be knowledge. Knowledge through senses is not perfect. It's a partial knowledge. Suppose you tell somebody, I said, are you speaking truth to me? You said 50%. What do you mean by that? Means you are lying constantly. There is nothing like 50% truth and 50% lie. Therefore, you should learn to understand yourself. In Sree Vidya, there is one thing very wonderful, and that is, you don't have to visit the temple. You can. A student of Sree Vidya can go to synagogues, temple, church, Shiva temple, Krishna, any temple, doesn't matter. For him and her, everything is one and the same. It's not the worship of a woman, mother. It's not worship of man, father. It's the worship of Brahman. Not even worship of neuter gender. You see, the absolute truth, which is changeless, which is not subject to change, death and decay. That which is limitless, that infinite, for whom we do not have words, which is beyond explication, which cannot be explained, which is inexplicable. You see. But the method here is, your deha, your body is a shrine. First point the teacher says. You can visit any place. External world inspires you. Anything in the external world. Even teacher will inspire you, scriptures will inspire you, lectures will inspire you, listening to the tapes will inspire you. But that is not enough. Suppose you are inspired, what do you do next? It means you should be able to use your potentials for the next step. So first awareness is this, you are Deho Devalaya Prokta Jivo Dev Sanatana. You are the shrine of the Lord. That awareness is developed. If you want to worship, don't go here and there. Don't condemn what others are doing. Don't look into this, into that. Perhaps what they are doing you don't understand, and they are doing well. At least they are doing something. So first awareness is the greatest of all, and dwells within me. This awareness is developed. It's not easy. Once you have developed this, 50% of job is completed. So teacher says, no, the Lord is within you. Don't search for the Lord outside you. It is everywhere, it is within you. How can you be excluded? Again and again, teacher creates that awareness. That is, strengthens that awareness. That Lord of life and the universe, they are one and the same, and Lord dwells in you. And where you find the presence of Lord, that is called temple or shrine. That's called church. It's a house of God. So here, teacher says, it's a house of God. Don't do this. Don't ignore this house of God. See, you don't break the wall. You don't keep the walls dirty or external part of the temple dirty. No, you keep it clean. This awareness is strengthened again and again. The day you have attained this faith that Lord is in me, I am the shrine of the great Lord, you have accomplished something. A teacher again and again says, you put question to your teacher, how it is possible for a little human being to become temple of God? Teacher says, look here, God dwells everywhere. How can you exclude yourself from that? Where is that place where there is no God? No truth, absolute truth? So it is within you. How can you say that this space in the glass is separated from this space, and this space is separated from the space outside? They are one and the same. But again and again, the teacher, you see, makes you aware of this. Now your worship starts, your research starts, your path starts inward. It is inward journey. From gross to subtler and then to subtlest aspect of your being. And the more you go inside, the more you come in touch with those, you see, finer forces, then your whole life is changed. You like to serve others, you like to love others, then it's a great joy for you to help others without any expectation. It becomes your nature. You see. And then whatever your convictions are, they are your firm convictions. And anything goes against your conviction, you don't move. You don't say, I'm sorry, because you are going to crucify me. Christ never said, sorry, don't crucify me. I want to live. He never said that. He would have easily said, sorry, please don't do this. He said, no. You attain that peak, that height of, you see, conviction, where death has no meaning. So if you are trying to search for the meaning of life, let you directly understand yourself first. You see. So therefore, first part, first awareness that teacher creates, awareness that Mother Divine is within you. You know, there is a word, Shiva. It's a Sanskrit word. It is written like this. Yes. If you only remove this part, this becomes Shava, means dead, corpse, Shava. Without Shakti, there is no existence of Shiva. So first of all, then in second step, the teacher makes him aware that Shiva and Shakti are one and the same. For strengthening that awareness, you will have to systematically understand the point of focus in your body, in yourself. If you concentrate here, or if you concentrate here, or if you concentrate here, that will make a difference. If you concentrate on Mooladhara, the lowest of chakra, that will make difference.
The lecture continues.
Then teacher, according to your state of mind, will give you focal point. The science of chakra is superficially mentioned in the books. You all have heard about the founder of Theosophical Society, Inhibition. And those 2-3 people. Through their literature, West found out about the science of chakra. But any book I pick up, I find complete distortion. You see. We will systematically pursue this subject so that you learn to understand something about yourself. When you learn something about yourself, teacher says or student says, You are talking only about this small figure. You are not talking about the universe. Then he imparts the knowledge of macrocosm and microcosm. Pinda and Brahmanda. Pinda is this body, Brahmanda is the universe. What is the difference between a drop of water and the ocean? They are qualitatively one and the same. But they are not quantitatively one and the same. You see. Once you understand the very summum bonum of your life, the very existence of this life, this individual, which is not body, which is not breath, not at all senses, which is not your thinking process, including your emotions, appetites and inclinations, which is beyond this. Beyond means not far away, within you. Whole philosophy and its dictionary changes. Beyond, if you tell, it's beyond your reach. It means it's far away, somewhere in India, Himalaya, Tibet, or somewhere you think. Beyond means the senses are beyond your body, the mind is beyond your senses, the soul is beyond your mind. It's within. Whole concept changes. You need a teacher not to teach you but to interpret, to give you right interpretation. And if he is experienced and if he had a teacher and if he has learned from his teachers, he will give you right interpretation. You see. The meaning of life should be interpreted nicely. You see. What life means? You will read many, many things. Poets say something different. Those who write prose, they write something different. Anyway, we all agree that life means a question. The big question. And that question should be understood, resolved. We need answer. We are searching the meaning of life. But it will not come from outside. Where are you searching for the meaning of life outside you? It's a simple thing. The meaning of life will be searched within you, not outside you. So you will find two parts within you. A part is influenced by the opinions of others, and a part remains uninfluenced by the opinion of others. That part which remains uninfluenced by, that glorious part, that's immortal part of your being. Otherwise, mortal, semi-mortal and immortal. These are your three selves. Body, plus breath, plus conscious mind. This is your mortal part. What is your semi-immortal part? Unconscious mind. Even when there is no conscious mind, all the impressions are stored in the reservoirs within you, all the merits and demerits of your life, unconscious mind, and individual soul. This is immortal. Now there is another which is called totally immortal. Absolute self. So you can see a self of yours is mortal self, semi-immortal self, individual soul without any vehicle called unconscious mind, and totally immortal. When you say myself, which self you are talking of? Are you talking of mortal self? Are you talking of semi-immortal self? Are you talking of totally immortal self? So when you are talking to teacher, myself, he knows where you are. Whether you are on mortal plans, whether you are talking something higher, or whether you are, you see, in the domain of individual self. So teacher gradually leads you to this awareness. All the pains and anxieties live only here. All the pains and anxieties live here, on the body, breath, senses, and conscious mind. Then there is no anxiety after this. You see. Because you don't have vehicle for anxiety, for expressing your anxiety. If it is, it remains in dormant, latent state. Anything that is expressed through conscious mind. So first thing that you should do, make full effort to convince yourself to accept this. I am a shrine of the Lord. First thing. It's not enough to believe in God. You say, I believe in God because I believe in my church, I believe in my, you see, I am a Catholic, I am a Hindu, I am Buddhist, I am this. It's not enough to lead happy life. It's not enough to make you happy. You all have religions, you all have churches, so what? Still you are suffering. You see, sometimes I find you suffering more than those who do not have. You see. Because you are not going ahead. So what actually you need? You need to go very systematically. So this body is like a chakra, systematic, as Panditji has explained, in which 5 triangles and another 6 triangles, they are united. How your body is composed, how it was formed. From here you start going inside. If you have known yourself, you have known the universe. But if you know the universe, you are trying to know the universe, you are lost. In the bewilderment, you are lost outside. So you better learn to understand yourself first. So that Vidya which leads you systematically is called Sree Vidya, highest of all Vidyas. As mother, and you are fully protected. It has been, these experiments have been done. Wild elephant was left with the child and father. The father ran away, left the child there. wild elephant was left when mother was walking with the child. Mother faced the elephant. You know. You are very close to mother. First. I am talking of divine mother. The mother in you, the Shakti in you, the power in you. Science has proved that matter is nothing but energy. You see, matter can be converted into energy, and energy into matter. It's all energy. But that's all, nothing beyond that. Yogic science has gone to deeper level, explaining that you have Shakti within you. And without that Shakti, it is not possible for you to survive. It's not possible for you to act and to function. Any part of yourself, even your brain, your mind, your intellectualization, your convictions, your actions are not possible without Shakti. This systematic path, loving path, most glorious, majestic path, is introduced by the teachers when you have enough time. Suppose you said, I don't have time. Swami, can you tell me something about Sree Vidya which you can do 2 minutes time before I go to my office? He will laugh at you and say, I love you. Okay, son, later on when you have time. So this Vidya, that's what it's called. There's a book that's called SoundaryaLahari, a wave of beauty, a wave of bliss, a wave of wisdom. So this mother worship is not the worship of a female deity. You see, it is not. It is not accepting any dichotomy or trichotomy. It's a systematic leading to the source of highest consciousness within you, where you find unification with the Brahman, the Absolute One. Now there are 3 schools in this. One school is called Kaula. Did Panditji talk to you about it? Another is called Mishra. Mishra means combination. Kaula means that is practice in a particular area. Third is called Samaya. Samaya leads you to that peak where you find constantly presence of the highest within yourself, all the time, even during sleep. You are sleeping, yet you are not sleeping. That's called sleepless sleep. Up to that, this path leads you. But remember, you will find 2 forces. One is called ascending force, another is called descending force. What is ascending force? Human effort. What is descending force? Grace of the Lord. These two are misinterpreted. Many of us sit down and say, Lord bless me. He said, what have you done? You lazy bum, you don't do anything. What do you mean by bless me? I am prepared to bless you. Come and do something and then I'll bless you. When all your human efforts are exhausted, you don't have any other way of doing anything. You don't find any source to have. Just suddenly you burst out, Lord help me. Grace dawns during that time. You go to the church and you say, performing Mass, you don't know what is happening. I'm going to office. This priest is late today. Why did you do this? Even in simple Mass performance, you see that. Before going to office, you just look at the temple and say, you go now. This path is a very clean path. There are very few scriptures because this is an oral tradition. In music, there are two sorts of music. When you hear classical music, somebody is playing, but a time comes when the musician is lost in his wisdom and then he starts whispering. Finest of all, whole of music is that moment when musician starts whispering. When teacher whispers the mantra, that's great. But when you start hearing whispers from within, as mother whispers to the child, it's not a language. It's beyond all the languages. The language in which a newborn baby speaks to her mother. What is that language? It's not English, it's not Sanskrit, it's not Pali, it's not any language. Those noises and sounds are enveloped with full love. The language of love. You see, that language of love comes through heart, but it's not from the heart. It's from the soul, deep down the soul, the way mother whispers. And that language is understood by the child. But if you speak English or any grammar correctly or only make some poem and some verse, the child wouldn't know, wouldn't stop crying. Between very close, who are spiritually close to their teacher, a language develops gradually. That develops in the silence. And it is considered that through silence, best of the teachings are imparted through silence. In the silence, where you don't have to speak. You don't have to speak. When I could not discipline myself in the college, I used to commit mistakes. Then my master adopted a method. When I went to him, he said, here is a diary, will you please read it? And on such and such day, at such and such time, you did this. On such and such day, and such. I got so much scared. Then I stopped doing things. Because I thought he is watching me all the time, and when I go back he is going to spank me, This sort of guidance is helpful, but rare thing. Where are such teachers and where are the students? And who has time? And how time in the world has become a factor. So that which is the controller of time, space and causation All these activities of the universe, I am talking of that Mother Divine who dwells in you. It's very difficult, very, very difficult for a teacher to make the student aware that God lives in you. It's not away from you. Don't say, oh God, come down. Don't. Or say, God, come out. You see. God be with me means let me be aware of the presence of Lord. That's the actual meaning. Our prayer changes, completely changes when you say, God is in me. The ultimate truth is in me. The reality, the absolute reality is in me. See. Which part of me? Is it in the mortal part, semi-immortal part, or totally immortal part? That's the point. So this Vidya will lead you gently, lovingly to that. And there are three schools. One school believes in worshipping at the root Mooladhara Chakra. It is totally external. The another is done here in Anhat Chakra. But the Samaya which I am going to introduce you and explain to you, even the scriptures do not understand. They call Samaya means occasionally they translate that, no? I am with you, constantly with you. This is the aim of Samaya Marga. When you are constantly aware of the Lord, you have accomplished something. You see. So your body is a chakra. You have to learn to go to that point where Shiva and Shakti are one, where there is no distinction of female and male concept. It's beyond all genders. Soul has no gender. God has no gender. You cannot say God is man. Man have written books, so man call him, him. If woman rejects and says, why him? She. But it's beyond all these genders. You see. So we'll systematically, tomorrow's topic will be interesting topic. There are many ways of bhut shuddhi. Bhut means past. Shuddhi means purification. How to purify the past? What are the philosophical concepts we have to practice? And what is the actual practical method we have to practice? You always say, if you sit down and say, what good thing have you done? Hardly anything will come in your mind. I have done this bad, I have done this bad, I have done... Why? Why do you say that? You are identifying yourself with your actions, forgetting your true nature. That's why you are suffering. First four sutras of Yoga Darshana will explain you entire Yoga Darshana. First, SoundaryaLahari's mantra Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shakta Prabhavitam. This will explain to you how Shiva and Shakti, how the Lord of life is beyond all this. You see, he has no gender. You can call her mother, him mother, you can call him father. is neither mother nor father, nor old nor young, nor child. But the teacher gives some concept. If you go to a Catholic nunnery, you will find all the nuns wearing wedding ring. It means they are wedded to Christ. But if you told them how your Christ looks like, they cannot say. Hey, you are wedded to your somebody and you don't know how he looks like? This is not good. Suppose he comes in front of you, oh honey, come on, hug me, you will run away. And wrong person will come, you can hug. This is not good, you should know. So you will have to choose a right one aspect of Christ. You cannot worship all the aspects of Christ. You can have comprehensive knowledge of all the aspects of Christ, but you can go through only one aspect. Christ that was crucified on the cross is a different aspect. Christ who walked on the earth as a prince among men was different. Moses who went to the mountain, that aspect is different. Which aspect? The nuns, I asked many nuns, which aspect of Christ? I said, whole of Christ. I said, but tell me what? Suppose somebody says, I am Christ, how can you deny? That particular aspect should be understood. Your meditation does not improve because you don't have the focal point. I am not talking aspect. What is the object of your meditation? Focal point, your teacher says. Here, the teacher imparts mantras. Now, there is a subtle thing here you have to understand. This sound. This sound is not heard outside. Scientifically, this sound can be, a sketch can be made of this sound. This sound makes a form. All the forms that we see in the universe are virtually sounds. Sounds have created the universe. Many, many sounds. You see. In this way, vast wave, ocean, there are waves. You see. The waves of beauty, the waves of bliss, the waves of wisdom. And all the forms have been created by sound. All the forms have come out of sound, as all the matter has come out of energy. So we'll talk tomorrow in details the difference between matter, energy, sound and mind, and how. What I am talking about, that aspect of meditation, why your meditation is not improved, how Sree Vidya, this path, helps you. I say goodbye to you today.